First and foremost, giving all praises, honor, and glory be to Yahawah, Sham, Yahawashi, Shem, Kakadash, and double honors to the apostles, elders, and bishops of the Great Millstone. Shalom to the Lord, to free leg. It's your brother Yerami Kazak, back with hopefully another edifying lesson through the spirit, power, and strength of Yahawah, Shem, Yahawashi, Shem, Kakadash. Once again, those are the true names of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Yahawah equals the Father's name, that means He is, He exists. Yahawashi equals the Son's name, that means He saves, He delivers. And Rakakwadash equals a spirit that's holy, a spirit that's set apart. Right? This is all once again in the Lashawan Kwadash, the holy language, the holy tongue. Okay? Also known as the Paleo Hebrew or the ancient Hebrew. Right? This lesson is going to be entitled Resonance. Resonance. Right? And it's a good little term to know. Right? And it's really when I heard it, it really just brought me back to the body, man. You know, regardless, brothers coming up in different avenues, different paths, different ways of life, right? But we all join together by Yahawah Shem Yahawashi. We all join together by these curses, you know, by the experiences of this place, of Babylon. But we all feeling it. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to get the definition of resonance. And it reads, resonance, a widespread phenomenon across multiple disciplines where a system responds with maximum altitude when exposed to an external force or frequency that matches its own natural frequency. Whether physics, chemistry, medicine, or everyday human connection, the term represents a dramatic amplification or a harmonious alignment. Right? So that's this truth. That's this movement. That's what this is. Alright? It's really, you know, resonance, man. Like we say, it resonates with you. Right? Where it's going back to this is as it says, it's a phenomenon. So it's divine. It's not average. It's not common. This is something that is far more. You can't recreate it. You can't recreate what the Most High is doing. You know, even though you got Esau out here, they trying to do all of this, trying to manipulate weather and, you know, food, but you can't recreate the effects that what the Most High is creating. That's why they can make all these GMOs, but it'll never match the original, you know? So these copies, these clones, even with animals, which they've been cloning since the 80s and the 90s, man, you know, these animals don't live that long. And they don't have the nutritious value that the Most High's creation has. So with this thing, what we're in, it can't be copied. It's a phenomenon. Once again, a widespread phenomenon across multiple disciples. So like your disciplines, where a system responds with maximum altitude. That's this truth. This truth, this understanding, it's responding and it's pushing out. And you have new believers coming in every single day, right? Because this thing is happening. Is full speed ahead, you know, and the train tracks is just straight. We just going, right? Ain't no derailing. Maximum altitude when exposed to an external force. What's that external force? Yahawah Shem Yahawashi, which we have all been exposed to. We have all been put in remembrance of. Or frequency that matches its own natural frequency. That's the brotherhood. That's the brothers. That's this truth. That's us coming together. That's, you know, let's get a precept when I get to my destination. So that's this body, man. As the scriptures say, may we all think with the same mind. Or furthermore, all of us all having the same mind as Hamashiach. Being in, as he prayed for us to be in one with him and the Father, because they're one, they're in essence in that same mindset. So he wanted us to be joined with them. And that's what a marriage is. You're joined. 1 + 1. You're one body. You're joined together. So this is beautiful right here. Exposed to an external force, which is Yahawah Ba'ashem Yahawashi, or frequency that matches its own natural frequency. We was created in the image, all right, meaning the likeness, the ways of Yahawah Ba'ashem Yahawashi. So therefore, our purpose is to match, to be similar to his frequency. So his vibration, the way that he is, we are ultimately trying to get back to that position, man. And him giving us the laws, commandments, and statutes, and the faith to believe in him and Yahawashi, like that right there is him giving us an olive branch to connect back to him, right? So we want to get back on his wavelength. But we had to what? He had to put us through all these different trials, tribulations to build us up. You have to prove a son. You got to check your son. You got to, is you going to fold under this position? Is you going to fold under this situation? Or is you going to strive? Is you going to make it? Is you going to take the teachings that I gave you and apply them? Or you going to fold up, like a little girl or whatever? All right? Whether physics, chemistry, or medicine, or everyday human connection, the term represents a dramatic amplification or harmonious alignment, and that's the spirit, the standard being lifted, a dramatic amplification. So it's a dramatic change which is coming to the men that are feeling this resonance, that are resonating with this truth, that are growing, that are connecting and coming back to bond with Yahawah Ba'ashem Yahawashi, which ultimately is the bride, right? The ones that are joined in marriage. So that dramatic amplification, not common. This is once again, this is a phenomenon. This is different. This is uncommon. Or a harmonious alignment. Harmonious, that body, thinking in the same mind. Brothers bringing out, I did a lesson like 2 days ago. I brought out something and I saw two brothers, they put the same precept, So that harmonious alignment, they're thinking in the same mind. That automatically sparked in their spirit to go here, when there was plenty of other different precepts to go to, but they automatically came to the same destination, right? So that's showing you that they're aligned in the mind, and that's the spirit. How we say, the spirit, it's like in the world, it's like, Jinx, you owe me a soda. Nah, now it's the spirit, because like you moving in tandem. So let's get that. This is Philippians 2:2. I started 1. If there be therefore any consolation in Hamashiach, if any comfort of love, if any fellowship of the Spirit, if any bowels and mercies, fulfill ye my joy, that ye be like-minded, having the same love, being of one accord, of one mind. And that's this, dramatically increasing, dramatically, a dramatic amplification, coming to the same mind, same understanding, growing and moving. Because if we going in the same destination, it's a thing in like, I used to watch NASCAR. It's what you call drafting, I think. It's drafting. It's like when you're driving behind somebody. Because their car is cutting through the wind, then your speed increases. This is how NASCARs end up passing each other, because the car behind you is actually going to go faster because you're cutting through the wind for them. So that's what the elders have done, man. Right? They've fixed the kinks and the neeks, out of the doctrine, and came to the correct, we have a more sure word of prophecy, right? So now you're able to draft behind them, following them, and coming in, and your speed is increased. You're giving a better way to race. And what are we doing? We're running a race. And did I forget my handicap sign? Oh damn. Slow. Slocky. Alright. So we're able to, and this is why leadership is important, man. Alright, let's keep it going. Verse 3, let nothing be done through strife or vainglory, but in lowliness of mind. Let each esteem other better than themselves. So You love one another, and you lift up. You compliment a brother. You motivate a brother. You looking at a brother, as the scriptures say, like you're dealing with Yahawashi, right? You esteem one another better than yourselves. It's not about you. It's about this whole thing coming together and us all being uplifted. You know. Verse 4, look not every man on his own things, but every man also on the things of others. Let this mind be in you, which was also in Hamashiach Yahawashi. What's the greatest love? Let's get that. Because that's what Yahawashi showed to us, man. All right. John 15:13. Greater love have no man than this, that a man lay down his life for his friends. So Yahawashi showcased that to us all, to lay down his life for his friends, to put his life on the line, you know, ultimately to for us to make it, man. You know, that's what it comes down to. That's what he did. All right. Verse 14, ye are my friends, if ye do whatsoever I command you. If you keep the laws, commandments, and statutes and do what he has commanded, what he has put out, then you are his friends. And friends get a privilege of knowing what the blueprint is, of knowing what the master, you know, ordains. So Yahawashi has given us an understanding to know what the Most High wants to happen. And that's going into having that same mind as Hamashiach. All right? So you gotta consider that. Okay, let's go to 1 Peter 4:1. For as much then as Hamashiach have suffered for us in the flesh, arm yourselves likewise with the same mind. For he that have suffered in the flesh have ceased from sin. So if he had to build up his mind over time to get to the point where he was able to suffer and go through what he had to go through, you know, he had to come to that. It's not an overnight thing, right? Let me get this in Luke. This is where's at the end? This is Luke. I'll start Luke 2:51. And Yahawashi, he went down with them and came to Nazareth and was subject unto them, but his mother kept all these sayings in her heart. This is after they collected Yahawashi from the temple, when he said, I got to be about my father's business. So ever since he became a man, he knew what he had to be on, and he was on it. He was running that race. 52. And Yahawashi increased in wisdom and stature and in favor with Yahawah and man. So it wasn't overnight. He had to increase in it. He had to grow in it. He was born, with the Holy Spirit on him, right? But he still had to go through the life like we have to go through the life, right? He still had to go through the everyday trials and tribulations and temptations and all of that. And he passed every test with flying colors. You know what I'm saying? But he still had to go through it. So it's more respected, right? How you have, I was watching Troy, where dude was like, one day it'll be a day where the kings will fight their own battles. Well, Yahawashi did that. He's a warrior king, such as David was a warrior king. Our kings fought, man. Our kings would be on the front lines fighting, not like these crusty ass Edomites, where they sending men to the war and all of that. Nah, Yahawashi is coming to lay it down and to fight, right? You know, so if he's fighting and he walked that walk, which we walking right now, he walked that walk prior to us, showing that love, and he leads by example, and that's how he's supposed to do. You know what I'm saying? So that resonance, that what he ultimately sees the end goal, okay, of us all being like him, us all being joint heirs, us all being in our right mind. And what brother would not want your brother to be in his right mind? You want your brother to be in his right mind. You want your brother to be in this truth, to understand and to move correctly and properly. That's what you want. All right? Yeah, we out here today, right? Is that Khan? Okay, I'll make it sure. Oh, yeah. All right, let's get a little bit more, man. Let's get a little bit more. Okay. This is Romans 12 and 16. Be of the same mind one towards another. Mind not high things, but condescend to men of low estate. Be not wise in your own conceits. So you don't let your materials, you don't let your life, your status, your career, all this dumb stuff, get into your heart. Because that's what these heathens do. They allow everything that they have and everything that they hold on to, which is their strong tower, right? Their job is their strong tower, their car, their house, their family, their bachelor's degree, their master's degree, their doctorate degree. You know, they hold themselves in a high-minded position because of all these foolish carnal accomplishments when they never built up the spiritual. So truly, they're on a low level, even though in the world's eyes they're on a high level. He's doctor this, PhD this, all of this, boom, boom, boom. Well, in the YT's society, yeah, you're on some kind of status, but that means nothing to the Most High, right? Ultimately, you're not going to be in this body, right? Because you've rejected it and you've aligned yourself with the beast system, because you put your faith and trust in this stuff. We can get degrees, we can do all that. You can go do what you got to do, but your priority should be Yahawah, Sham, Yahawashi. Because as the scripture says, use this world, but don't abuse it. So be of the same mind one towards another. Mind not high things, but condescend to men of low estate. Be not wise in your own conceits. Recompense to no man evil for evil. Provide things honest in the sight of all men. If it be possible, as much as lieth in you, live peaceably with all men. Right? So it's important to just, it takes discernment to peep. Like, let's say you're dealing with somebody and brother ain't getting it. So you got to discern and feel it and understand that he ain't going to get it. So you don't continue to beat the brick wall, because then that could lead into an argument. And now every time he see you, it's like that energy, it's tension because of that. This is why you definitely don't teach at work. You don't teach, you teach at appropriate places, which is on the corners and, when you, whatever, man, in the crib, like wherever you ordained to teach, but you don't just be out here. We ain't just out here like, hey, I'm a Hebrew Israelite, bro. You an Israelite too. Nah, that ain't it. That's how these Christians is, man. You know what I'm saying? Passing pamphlets out and shit. Hey, Jesus, come to our church. Yeah, we're out here every Sunday, blah, blah, blah. Nah, that's not it. That's the ways of the world. So you're reforming and you're coming into a different thing, right? Which is different from the world. And going back to the definition of resonance, it's a phenomenon. So it's divine. It's not going to be, because a phenomenon is it's something you can't even, like, it's unexplained, right? So you can't explain it by the means of men. It's no recipe that you got to bring this thing together. Like you see a brother in the UK teaching the same doctrine. Like, boom, that's a phenomenon. That's crazy. How? I don't know this brother, but he's saying the same thing. That's coming back to that same mind which we share. Same thing, like a brother in Australia saying the same thing. Brother in Alaska saying the same thing. It's a brother out there in Finland saying the same thing. This is a phenomenon. It's divinely brought, right? So that's it's spiritual, man. All right, let's get one more. I'm gonna wrap it up. This is Philippians 4. I started at the top. Therefore, my brethren, dearly beloved and longed for, my joy and crown, so stand fast in the Lord, my dearly beloved. This is the mindset that Paul was pushing out to the churches. He wanted the brothers to make it, right? He wanted them to, he wanted them to stand fast in Yahawah Shem Yahawashi, right? Verse 2, I beseech Eodius and beseech Syntyche, butchered that they be of the same mind in Yahawah Shem Yahawashi. So you brothers need to be of the same accord. And I entreat thee also, true yoke fellow, help those women which labored with me in the gospel, with Clement also, and with other my fellow laborers, whose names are in the book of life. Rejoice in the Lord always, and again I say rejoice. Let your moderation be known unto all men. The Lord is at hand. Right? So moderation, moderate means not to be, it's going back to living peaceful with all men. You're not being over righteous. Right? You're coming and you have a sense of class, and you have a sense of, you're not doing too much. That's perfect. You're not doing too much. You got Jake, they come into this thing and they just automatically start doing too much. It just, fringes. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, bro, you, all that weight, those type of things is similar to the Christian church. So did you ever really change? You're not really understanding what we in. It's like, yeah, you get a zeal, but too much zeal is like, you could push somebody away with that because you're doing too much, and it goes into the point of being over righteous. So moderation, knowing that, especially in those times, and it's the same in these times as those times, because our people was in a Gentile state of mind. They was coming up in Greek customs. They was coming up, being Romans, being Corinthians, being Philippians, doing all of this, doing all, they're accustomed. So you got to allow the Spirit to work and for them to realize over time to lead this stuff. That's why you deal. And like I said, you come out, you teach at that place, and they see you, and then let the Father draw them, because He's going to draw them, not you. So all that over righteousness, that's going to push them away. That's not going to draw them in. This is where, people like Nate, Bishop Nate, and all these individuals, they think that they are supposed to do this when the Most High is doing this. It's a phenomenon. It's not of men. So you got to allow the Spirit to move and not the carnal means. Hey, we got the school. We got, we got the purple and gold. We got this and this. Don't you want to be with this? It's like, that's what they're pushing. But that's carnal, right? It's like men have to, let's get that. They got to be persuaded in their own minds, man. You can't persuade them. What's that? Own minds. Romans. Is this it? Yep. Romans 14:5. One man esteemeth one day above another, and one man esteemeth one day above another, another esteemeth every day alike. Let every man be fully persuaded in his own mind. Right? So you can't force this thing on anybody. And then furthermore, it's another one I want. 2 Corinthians 6:11. Knowing therefore the terror of Yahawah Ba'ashem Yahawashi, we persuade men, but we are made manifest unto power, and I trust also are made manifest in your consciousness. So we could tell you the stories. We can bring out the judgments. These 4 earthquakes, really I think it was 6 earthquakes, right, that hit back to back. California, Venezuela, what's the other one? Japan. You know what I'm saying? They all hit. Boom. That right there should persuade men. You should know that we in those times, right? But some people just gonna keep partying, doing what they want to do, because they're not persuaded, and the Most High don't want them. But hey, it is what it is. You gotta let things work out and play out. They're not feeling the resonance. It's not resonating with them, so they're not gonna get it. Going back to Philippians 4 and 5. Once again, let your moderation be known unto all men. Yahawah is at hand. Be careful for nothing, but in everything by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving, let your requests be known unto power. And the peace of Yahawah, which passeth all understanding, shall keep your hearts and minds through Yahawashi HaMashiach. right? The peace. So key words in there was prayer and supplication. You constantly got to be praying. This is things that brothers do not do, man. Pray. You got to pray every single day, bro. Every single day. You wake up, pray, throw a lesson on, get in the spirit, and do what you got to do. And you wanna keep that cycle going throughout the day. To constantly be in communication. Yahawashi should be your best friend. We just read in John 15, 13, 14, he calls you friends. So he ain't just trying to be a friend that you talk to every month, once a month. Nah, you need to be that main one, right? He's your best friend. Furthermore, Yahawashi is your husband, man. You are married to Yahawah and Yahawashi, right? So he's far more than just some common friend. Okay? Verse 8. Finally, brethren, whatsoever things are true, whatsoever things are honest, whatsoever things are just, whatsoever things are pure, whatsoever things are lovely, whatsoever things are good of good report, if there be any virtue and if there be any praise, think on these things. Those things which ye have both learned and received and heard and seen in me, do, and the power of peace shall be with you. Starting in the mind, your heart. The Most High is what? Looking at the inward. What you're thinking on, what you're feeding yourself. People love to say food for thought. Well, that's true. Because what you're eating in your brain comes out of your body. The way that you think is going to ultimately, you're going to project it out. That's why you got a term people say projecting. Like you just projecting. They projecting their feelings and how they feel about themselves. They'll project that out to the world. Right? Perfect example is a bully. I had a bully in school, and this dude, he hated his life. So he come to school beating up on people, hating on people, because at home, he not getting no love. So he don't know love. So he projects what he feels, what he gets. He pushes that out. But a child that's secure, that has a stable home, a mature home, and is getting love and all of that, they'll be generous at school. They'll be nice. They'll be kind, because that's what they know at home. So ultimately, it's what they're feeling in their mind, what somebody pushes and tells them to think about themselves, right? So it starts in the mind. You gotta really build yourself up in the mind, man. All right, I'm gonna get one more. I'm gonna get up out of here. Joshua. It's my joint. Joshua 1:8, and it reads, "This book of the law shall not depart out of thy mouth, but thou shalt meditate therein day and night, that thou mayest observe to do according to all that is written therein. For then thou shalt make thy way prosperous, and then thou shalt have good success." So meditate, going into thinking on it constantly, meditating on it day and night. That means you read a chapter and you think about it. You go into it, you watch a breakdown on it, you dive into it, you dive deeper than just reading it and being like, oh, that's it. No, you really understand it, right? So that's important, because some people, man, I had an individual, he read the whole Bible, but didn't understand none of it. He was like, yeah, I read this book. I'm like, did you get it? Are you getting it? Like, nah, this is why you need the breakdowns. This is why you got the elders. This is why you got the prophets. This is why you got the preachers according to Yahweh's heart. Jeremiah 3:15. This is why you got that education there, the proper education, right? And furthermore, going back to resonance, it's a phenomenon, because now we understand it when 5 years, 6 years ago, I didn't understand it. So it's a phenomenon. It's like it was a barrier there that Yahawah had to remove, and then he gave you that understanding. Going into Isaiah 29, maybe, But it comes from you meditating and applying yourself, thinking on the laws, commandments, and statutes, thinking about Yahawashi, which is the word, day and night, that thou may observe to do according to all that is written therein, for then thou shalt make thy way prosperous. So he's telling you how to make your way prosperous, If you do this, if you meditate therein day and night on this book of instruction, then thy way shall be prosperous, and then thou shalt have good success. Right? Even if life is harder, is you might have been putting your trust and looking at life the wrong way, where you thinking a job, your promotion, your career, the house, the job, all of that is good success. No, that might not be what the Most High wanted you to have. Right? Going back to the point of you're being more spiritual than carnal now. So you have an understanding, an unction, an anointing to know all things. You're actually on the right path finally. When you come to realize that all this stuff is getting burnt up, it's like, what's the need of holding on to anything down here when it's all gonna be burnt up, right? That's it. It's like, yo, this shit done. You know, Yahawah Tazah, we going up, and we getting up out of here, and we gonna restart. We are the great reset, man. New Jerusalem, the men, all right, the remnant. So that's it right there. I'm gonna wrap it up. Once again, I'm going to read the definition one more time. Resonance is a widespread phenomenon across multiple disciplines where a system responds with maximum amplitude when exposed to an external force or frequency that matches its own natural frequency, us being in the image of Yahawah Ba'ashem Yahawashi, being in the correct way. Whether physics, chemistry, medicine, or everyday human connection, the term represents a dramatic amplification when you come into this truth, or a harmonious alignment, the same thing. The body is harmoniously aligned, right? Thinking in the same mind, the same understanding, the same doctrine, flowing together as one. So, I use this example a lot. Power Rangers coming together, the arm coming together, the other arm, the leg, and the head, and the chest, and then they finally beat what's the damn villain, Dr. Uz or some shit? The witch, which is Babylon. That damn witch. They finally beat the villain of the movie, man, of the story. Right? So, with that being said, giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahawah, Ba'ashem, Yahawashi, Ba'ashem, Kakadash. Double honors to the apostles, elders, and bishops of the great millstone. Shalom to the Lord's hopeful elect. As always, Kwame Yasha'Allah and Abba Paul. Keep the faith. Shalom.